And this evening.
Yeah. I get it, it's winter time, so
Well, they might even hop on them.
hope so.
So have we? Who's in charge of the college participation?
So Janine actually brought up that idea and made a suggestion that some college students, maybe we could team up with a university or something and do some kind of curricular activity where something would count toward their college credits. So like maybe they could draft and design something for the town, or maybe someone various degrees could look at things from different angles, and then maybe there'd be a semester project. So I contacted Lindenwood and Hannibal LaGrange, but I haven't got a response. And that might be because this time of year, as you know, college student
Yeah.
is really busy. But I think I did Hannibal LaGrange, Lindenwood University, and Quincy University, and I haven't received any responses right now.
Trying to think of where else you could reach out to.
Yeah.
Just haven't gotten out. Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
oh.
Hey. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Probably pretty good.
It's pretty cool out there, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Just for a few, even just for a few minutes. Those. You want lights on or you want to sit?
You turn lights off if you want.
Somebody else likes the big light. He never lets me turn the big lights on. He's like, just turn the lamps on. I'm like, I can't see.
It gets a little bit older, then you have to have.
That's the problem. He is 8 years older than me. And he's like, just turn on 3 lamps. I'm like, just turn them bigger than that.
My vision started giving me all kinds of fits when I turned 60.
Yeah, well, I mean, they thought I was gonna be legally blind by the time I turned 18. And not, but I'm pretty close. I'm at a -7
Oh,
plus a 180 astigmatism. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
cannot see anything.
you have to have the bright lights. to
Yeah.
help you. Yeah.
Like, it's the old laughing because I'm sitting there watching TV, I'm doing my little old lady crafts and embroidering, and I've got the big light on. He's like, you know, most people do this like in a cozy setting. I'm like, well, then I won't be able to see it, so. I have a blanket, I have tea, I'm cozy as I need to be,
It's a nice warm setting for me.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the, crock-
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
Isn't it wholesome?
yeah. Ooh. Well, I see that they're doing work both on the Miller building and the building next door. I noticed that they were carrying stuff into it. I assume maybe they're gonna reopen it as a bar.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
But they were carrying a bunch of stuff in the other day. It's just like, hey, good.
That'd be nice.
At this point, I'll go for pretty much anything besides, you know, adult X-rated
Yeah.
store, but that's probably not the thing we need.
Did we ever make a decision between dispensary or grow up? Was that ever decided on council? I know it was, right, we had to go one way or the other, we couldn't have both.
I know we made a decision that, if you test positive for marijuana, you're bye-bye. Which I personally have a little problem with. My feeling is if you test positive, I mean, since it is legal in the state of Missouri at this point, and so is alcohol, and I think alcohol's a lot worse. But
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. But my feeling is, okay, if you're running heavy equipment, absolutely.
Right.
You shouldn't have to be stoned and or drunk.
Right.
But you know, if you have pot in your system from, 3 or 4 weekends ago, and you
Right.
weren't at work, it was barbecue, and you basically having this equipment you operate a typewriter or a computer keyboard,
Right.
but I got outvoted pretty fast on that. Like, okay.
I think that stigma is gonna stick with us for a little bit longer.
I could tell by the look on their faces that that's not too much. Okay. I'll just let that one pass.
Even my mom's new husband, the last time I went to go see them, cause Scott's a therapist and, so he's always done contract work and stuff for big hospitals. And like, I'm on the phone with my mom, also I just hear Scott yelling, and I'm like, what is going on? And so she puts Scott on the phone, and he's like, I'm self-employed, bring drugs. Hey, Scott. I don't really need them right now, but.
He may need those in 6 months or a year after he first starts being self-employed.
Yeah.
More like it. Oh, geez.
I just picked him up a little cart and a little pen. And I was like, here you go. He takes one hit off and he goes, oh, that's strong. And I was like, Scott, I don't think you inhaled it either, but okay.
But, hey. Can't have people out plowing snow while they've. Although it'd be real interesting to know if anybody actually took a little bottle of whiskey with them, since it would certainly warm you up.
Yeah, he was warm. I'm saying,
But that's.
marijuana would do the opposite, 'cause it lowers your blood pressure and makes you
Yeah.
more cold.
Colder. That's not. Changing times, changing sensibilities.
I'd say we wait about 4 more minutes, because if we can't meet quorum, then I would just give a brief summary on some of these things, and then we'll just have a conversation.
Today, or this week is my week for meetings. I just see it go from one to another. So much other things I need to be doing.
You have black ink on your hands?
Yeah, I got my phone. It's that's actually Flex Seal.
Oh, okay. Does it work?
Well, it does in warmer weather. I discovered that when it's cold, it likes to not come out of the bottle or the can in a prescribed fashion, let's put it that way. In other words, it comes out kind of in glops. Got all of them.
Maybe that can be like a testimony that at least it works for not getting, not being able to wash off your hands.
That's right, it stays. It stays. I keep trying to kind of scrape it off. I know the way I can get it off. I like it. Gasoline. But then I hate to have it smell like gasoline on me for hours.
That's all
Yeah.
I could really find in just my loose paperwork. As far as any, I know those aren't bylaws, those are just procedures.
Mhm.
But that's what I found. And then just this is what it does thing. But that's really about all I could find.
That's fine. This is perfect. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to know what the original stomping grounds were like.
Yeah, I haven't gone back through like into my computer to see if I have anything from when we were LVCB. Cause I would assume we had something when we were contracted in.
Is it some kind of? Are there things that we should know in terms of we aren't doing that we should do, or we
Well, it's like
do that we aren't?
the idea is, so when I came onto the board, no one really grabbed my hand and said, hey, take a look at this. There's no, like most college organizations I've joined, there was always like a little handbook and they'd toss it out.
Yeah.
And then that way it's more of like a knowledge thing up front. But it's like, kind of like having to ask, Bob over here, or John, oh, well, can we do this or can't do this, and not hearing back from somebody, or like weeks going on at a time. Whenever someone comes on in the future, like this is when I'm long gone or we're long gone, someone come on with not much confusion and say, oh, you know what, are we doing this? And I don't know like if it's, necessary or not, but I just want to safeguard against anything. So there's no ambiguity, meetings don't go on forever. So that's all it is like, I want to make sure like people understand like, hey, if you can't come in today, join it on Zoom, but like, hopefully just having that prerequisite knowledge, like today, we'll discuss this and we'll go in depth, but so I'm just going to pass this around just so you guys are aware of it and just so my math is good. So just so everybody can get paid, I think this is the entire stack of invoices for ColorFest.
I just know I haven't paid the $40 one, whatever that was, 47 or something.
Right, that's all, I think it's included in here. I'm gonna pass these around, you go through it, I wanna make sure my math is correct. So we'll start off with, it's not on the agenda, the physical agenda, I don't know why it wasn't included, but it's old business, so we're just talking about this, but it's gonna be brought up again in January. I think the total is $1,518 with all these invoices combined, double check my math unless I'm mistaken. I think we didn't receive any more invoices for the radio stations.
Really?
I think that's the stack right there behind it. I could be wrong.
We got the billboard paid for.
Yeah, I believe so. Cause I talked to the treasurer about that and I tagged you in that email just to. make
Yeah,
sure.
so I was
Yeah.
out of town.
Okay.
I just had to put my dad on hospice. And so I was out of town dealing with that, and so I was just like,
Okay,
I yelled at so many people while I was out of town, and I felt so bad, and so I was glad Tim came in and was like, just pay this, like, thank you, because I really don't wanna have to go through my emails right now. I've been crying for 3 days, and I'm dealing with too much, and I yelled at a POS guy by accident. He just called, there was no number, so I was just like, hello, who is it? And he's like, this is John from Sky's Dad. I was like, oh, sorry, John, what do you want, though?
Well, I'm really surprised on Quincy because I definitely contracted with Quincy to do it. I don't know what the story is that we're not getting one from Quincy,
so we're down, we're still missing one.
from Quincy.
Okay. Did you want to take a look at these two?
It's in radio spots on it, definitely said, yes, that's the schedule we want to do.
Do we know if it aired?
Well, I don't know, because I don't go to
Yeah.
Quincy and I don't listen to
Fair.
the Quincy station, so I just assumed that they would do it. Maybe they didn't, maybe it got lost in the shuffle. They
We'll see
didn't,
if
we'll
it
try
comes
again
around.
next year and see. But I do think that the Mexico and the Troy stations were definitely, worth the doing.
Yeah. I think we had a great turnout for all of
Yes.
us.
Well, I mean, Brooke did a great job too.
Yeah.
So. Oh. This means 2 meetings that we haven't seen.
I believe it's Casey.
The new person.
It's Woodrow's wife, right?
Yeah, Woodrow.
Yeah, I believe it's Casey Polston, right?
Polston.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Since Woodrow's back on Facebook again, I'm gonna reach out to him and talk to him.
be nice.
Yeah.
It's
I can come, I'll be here for this.
My math is probably wrong, but I think it's $1,518.
I came out to 1457.
Okay.
Did you count the 108 or did you count the 47? Because on
Oh,
my invoice, it's only 47.
Oh, it's on $47.
Yeah.
Okay, I just looked at the 108, I counted.
No, 108 is both things, so that's the library and the Color Fest.
Okay.
The city, this committee only pays the Color Fest. Library has to pay, which they haven't paid yet either, but.
Okay.
But they're supposed to pay from the library.
Mhm.
Are you on the library board?
No, my wife is.
Do you know who did their sweatshirts that they have made? Yeah, I came out to 1457.69.
Okay, I think you're working on that one.
That's where it happened.
Say that number again.
Curious,
No,
because
no.
we didn't do them, so I was just like,
What?
who did those?
What was that number again? I'm sorry.
1457.69.
Okay.
No, I did the poster that they're using. They're supposed to do table tents too, but we came into a disagreement on the design of the table tents. If they want to use the design, my design, I'm not changing it for them, so they come up with it. So that's life. This design, it says, it's the glamour, it's the romance, it's the encyclopedias. And it is like that. But, okay.
I we're trying to come up with something for the.
And it's this,
Food pantry, right?
it's this beautiful woman with flowing red gown, cape, behind her, and the hair is flowing, it's got the Hollywood look, and the hair is, of course, a giant wind machine and all that kind of stuff. And it's the glamour, it's the romance, it's the encyclopedias, it's the library.
Huh. That's interesting.
Maybe they just want a different vibe.
I just wanted it to catch attention.
Yeah,
Well, maybe too sexy.
isn't like half the library romance?
If you want to get people reading, you get them reading on something that they find is fun, which to me is mysteries, so a lot of them, it's romances.
Yeah.
So why not get them reading something fun, and then maybe go to something else?
Well, I was told, I spoke to someone there and they did inform me that 40 Shades of Grey is the #1 most rented book there at the library.
I don't know, has the library gotten the Avatar series in yet, though?
I'm not aware.
That would do it.
Well,
I don't know,
well,
I read almost 200 pages of that series on Sunday. Like, I finished one book and immediately would go to the next. And Cher's like, are you just gonna keep reading? Yes. Me and my fairies are falling in love right now. It's great.
anyway,
Okay, well, we'll table that again. Should I reach out to Quincy or should you?
I can reach out.
All right, so then the next thing we're gonna talk about is it's the new stuff. So the carriage ride. I believe her name is Rebecca Millen or Million. I'm not good at pronunciation, but we talked a little bit. I think the rides that she's proposed like roughly 20 minutes, and 20 minutes. There's a lot of different ways to cover things. And I also thought if 20 minutes can't cover things, what if there's an advanced carriage ride where someone pays more money and they can explore more, so that way they can take in more information. And this is just a recommendation to her. But when I was thinking the idea of the carriage ride is, I haven't talked to Brent Engel about this, and I think he said he would like to help, but he didn't really. He just kind of, I don't know if he knew how to give suggestions on this, but essentially, like, what history would essentially be the most important as they're going through a tour? Because this person's going to be, there's going to be dead time when the horse is going through, and then there's going to be times when they pass by something that's historical, and it's like, I tried to work on kind of like a pop culture, like fast facts kind of thing, in summary. I don't even know if the summary would do it justice, but it's like right there, if you're at the riverfront, there's tons of history to cover right there. How fast do you talk about it? And then if you come up on this corner water tank building, I just found out recently it was on HLG or HGTV, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so how much information do you talk about down here? How much is too much? And then if you're covering too much information as you go up this way, if that is to be the route, what buildings are you taking away from by doing that? Does that make sense? Like, what's the hot thing versus what's not so important? And then if you say that, then are you degrading the quality of that history by doing that? Because 20 minutes, you gotta consolidate so much.
I don't know, I feel like we should have like a good mix of like new history and old history. Cause I like how you brought up like the HGTV house, like that's modern history, but that is history in our town, like that is something cool that people would be like, oh, that's neat. And even if that's going just to, oh, well, this is currently Gambino's, but it was the Eagles Nest for 20 years and it was owned by our famous artist, John Stuckley, yada, yada. Like, I think those like more modern facts mixed in with like, we have the most intact Victorian streetscape, these are the Mesker buildings, blah, 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 blah. And then the buildings that maybe don't have any newer history, be like, well, that was so-and-so's house, and that's neat. But then having kind of that newer history of like, hey, these people are recent. This is someone who's still alive today, and things like that, I think would be, like, I mean, at least that's kind of what drew us to town, was people being like, they talk about certain people with such like reverie, but it's like, that person's still going to Walmart, and I think that's
That's a
cool.
good point.
Well, I think it would catch their attention more too, or like keep them entertained, like, oh, this person owned this, and They're doing this, or-
What I would suggest is put it on cardstock. And put information, kind of one thing per cardstock page. So that then they can mix and match. If they change their route, they just change the order of those pages. Rather than have it,
Yeah, maybe having even multiple routes, so would you like to look more at the homes or at more of the
Right.
commercial buildings?
and then that allows the person who's doing the carriage ride to choose what they talk about, when they talk about it. And
Maybe not get us bored of doing the same spiel over and
every
over.
note.
Redundancy, yeah.
Right, and then make sure they're printed on cardstocks, they don't blow away, and that they're easily to hold on to, and large type, not 12 point, probably 18 or 20. Little things like that.
I don't know if we could do it, I mean, I guess we could, because we wouldn't really be paying for it as like a paid ad, but would it make sense to have a certain spiel towards people who are maybe staying overnight in town? To be able to say, oh, this is Isola's building, this is where you can get breakfast, this is, you know, this is the arcade named after what used to be the clothing store, but now you can go in there and get dinner, things like that. You know, if you have time tomorrow, be sure to check out Georgia Street Antiques, and here's something about that building.
I think we should, I really do like that idea, and I think it's a really good idea, but knowing that people in the past have gotten in trouble for those quote unquote promoting individual businesses,
Right,
I just don't wanna get into that.
okay.
I don't wanna open up that bag of worms, but if we can do it,
I think,
I think we
from
should.
my understanding at
That's-
least was that we couldn't pay to promote
okay,
anything, so if we just say. Hey,
'Cause I
we
think
would like to include the businesses in our
for
spiel,
people who are like bed and breakfast or staying overnight and doing this, yeah, it'd be great to know, hey, they have great breakfast at Isola's, and yeah, it may, you know, it may
Right.
look like kind of a hole in the wall, but the food's real good.
right? And I think people would
Yeah.
appreciate that maybe being a part of the tour, and that might even be something that they add on to, if they're like, hey, we'd really like to go look at the houses, but can we add on the. We're staying here for the weekend tour and you show us where we can go? You know, can you just point us out to a couple of places you'd recommend?
It's not that I don't wanna do it, it's just that I'm worried about the thin ice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, someone, it doesn't matter how hard you try, at least one person's gonna say.
Oh, there's somebody's gonna be, hey, I know, I'm a corrupt politician because I park on my own land. And sometimes I park the wrong direction on my own land. I'm therefore corrupt.
But hey, you're making Louisiana history now, right? You're a historic figure now.
Small town fame, that's all you've ever wanted.
And you can tell it bothers me deeply.
You started, not the whiskey rebellion, but the sidewalk.
There we go, yeah.
Okay, I actually like all those suggestions because it really the things that were discussed. Kind of removes the whole has-been idea of the town.
Mhm.
So it actually does, chisel away at that, and I think that's good. Modern history mixed in with old history. Okay, this one's just kind of a brief mention. It was an idea from Janine. I haven't heard back. I don't know what the deal's in the email. I might just start cold calling people, talking to them. But there was an idea by Janine. The idea was for colleges to somehow partner with us and like the students would offer their talents. So like you'd have a drafting design person come in and say, you know what, you could do this, or maybe some of economics, just a variety of disciplines, maybe they'd intermingle, but they could be like things that would be a part of a semester project or a senior project or something, and then students come down, maybe even do a competition, maybe even stay at the St. Louis Lay Center for the weekend. There could be some logistic issues with that though, because some students, is there going to be a fee? Are they forced to travel to complete this homework assignment, this semester thing? It might cause issues if they don't have a car. So I'm not so sure about that, but I reached out to Quincy University, Hannibal, LaGrange, and I believe Lindenwood University. Haven't heard anything back, but I thought, hey, we're trying some new things out. We didn't know if you'd be interested in partnering with us for like a semester project. Cause like when I was in college, community, I think it's Community Bank up in Warrensburg. They're a competitive bank now, but they wanted the semester students to brainstorm and come together and create what's called a ACH, automated clearinghouse. They wanted us to create an algorithm for that. So whenever a check was deposited, it would check against if it was fraudulent or not. And unfortunately, at the end of the semester, we didn't create what they wanted. But the idea was, hey, if you give us this source code, we will give you a good grade, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like you still worked with a company, and that's good. So that's an idea. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I like the idea.
I like that.
Yeah, I think especially if we could maybe time it with, like a spring semester or a fall semester and try to get them leading up to Spring Fling, if we do that again, or Color Fest. And maybe that could be the main part of their project.
Okay.
Would be maybe an event.
Certainly, if they're into architecture and design, it'd be great to have some of these, the entry signs that we're thinking of, because one of the things that I keep, when I talk to a couple of people, they say, well, you got a design for it? That'll help me give you an idea of what it would cost. So, I've got an idea, but I can't draw it because I'm not an artist.
You tell people the same spiel.
Like, well, sure would be nice if we had somebody that could draw it up. Because, you know, I can see it in my mind's eye pretty clearly,
Yeah.
but at export.
Okay.
Cause when you're reaching out to these schools, how are you reaching out? Like, who are you trying to contact?
Through email. So like there'll be like a professor. and
Okay, so
they're-
you are going directly to like departments.
Mhm.
Okay.
So like sometimes the way they have the departments organized, so like I think there's an arts department in Hamblo Grange, and I tried to reach out to the person who was the director there, and I sent them an email. And usually when you have a .gov account, it will bypass the filters because it's government, the government extension. But either they're busy or they probably just thought, I don't have time for this, because they get stacks of emails in their inbox. There was a department, I have to go back through my emails a little bit. There was a department, I think, at St. Charles or Lindenwood University I tried to reach out to, and then Quincy University. They had some kind of art department or something to that effect. I tried to reach out to them and I sent them an email and then I hadn't heard anything back, but it's like I still want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to email me a list of who you've already emailed, I'll have time in the next month or so to do email blasts.
Mhm.
Just that way I'm not emailing the same people you've emailed, and I can start looking into, even like their marketing department, their business department. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Because after December 15th, I'll be sitting in Tennessee staring at my computer, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Enjoy that remote life.
yeah, I'm really not looking forward to it.
No,
But the lady I'm renting from was very sweet.
that's always a plus.
It's meant for like traveling nurses and stuff, but I was just like, hey, my dad's on hospice, can I rent it? And she was like, yeah, do you want me to put up a Christmas tree? I was like, yeah. And she was so sweet, she's like, I'll buy the coffee, you get free laundry soap, I was like, thank you. I just needed to be inside, I didn't want to stay in the bus over the winter.
Okay,
When is the next meeting in December?
the next meeting?
Yeah.
For this month?
Yeah, for December. Oh, this is December.
I see.
Yeah, it's
For
December.
Okay, so the January meeting will be like January. I know you sent that, but I didn't look at it.
I know you told me, but.
It's great that you brought that up. So I was just creating a reoccurring Zoom schedule thing. I can fix that. I was kind of deadlocked for time, but we can schedule it whenever. It's not.
I will be here the first week or so of January,
Okay.
first couple of weeks. But then after that, I will be gone all the entire month of February, so I won't be here for the February. So, wait.
Okay. Thank you. Did you have any specific day that you wanted to?
I'll just zoom in.
All right.
Yeah, it's fine.
So this is something the mayor brought up to me in the past, and I looked into it after talking to some people. Because I don't know how things have historically worked with tourism or other committees, but I don't know how successful they've been in the past as far as investments are concerned. So like, has there ever been a time whenever you were on the other board, was there any like CD investments or anything like that? Like tourism would take so much money and they would invest it, or is that ever something that wasn't?
Not to my knowledge, at least, that's not something that was ever brought up to me.
Okay, because now I'm not a finance guy really,
Yeah.
but I was looking at CDs and I heard a lot about them, but the return on investment for investing so much money doesn't seem like, I don't know if it'd pay off. I think the only time you'd actually ever get a good return on investment would be if you had like, say, $100,000, something like that. But it's like, how can tourism create more passive income from a bank account, so that way things could be flowing, and then there would be financial constraints in the future, but also like, I don't know, upkeep things, bring things more into the future. Because I know years down the road, there's investments. Someone might actually have a good idea, will pay them because the investment, there's something there.
Have you looked into high yield savings accounts?
They're called what?
High yield savings accounts?
Doesn't-
They're just a little bit more liquid than a CD.
Okay.
You can pull out of it as needed, but it does have a higher, it's a higher yield savings account, so it's just a higher percentage on the savings account.
Doesn't the city do that already with on separating that? Because I thought.
They're separate. Yeah,
I
we're just
thought
have
the
to be in
city
our
was
own lane.
laddering everything anyway in terms of where the money is going, et cetera.
Do we know offhand what the percentage that the rack tax is off of their income? That we're getting,
You said what?
the tax that we receive from the hotel motels? Do we know what that like percentage is or what that looks like?
Not off the top of my head, but I can get with the treasurer after this and ask her.
I was just curious what that looked like.
No, it's good. And actually, I want to try to normalize something too. I want to start like trying to get like the actual budget for each meeting set up too, so we know what we have.
Yeah.
But the quorum thing has actually kind of,
That's what a damper.
let's see. And you said it's the tax percentage, right?
Yeah, I would assume it's a percentage considering it's a tax. Cause that, I'm assuming is going on top of their sales and use tax, right? Because the price of their sales and use tax and then their rack tax on top of that.
Did you say rack tax?
Yeah.
That's what I've always heard.
That's what it's-
Oh, I've never heard it before.
That's what I've always heard it called. Basically, it's a visitor tax.
Yeah, I don't see tax.
Okay. Did you have anything to recommend? No.
I don't have anything now.
One thing on this, I don't think that in practice. Charge that. This, does,
Would be, cause that was my question.
Airbnb do that as part of their fees and then reimburse?
And that's what I don't know, because as far as what I've seen, it's all self-reporting in town. And so I don't know if the Airbnbs are doing that, or if they're just taking that out of their income, which would seem odd.
We ran Airbnb for a while, and I know that Airbnb, the organization Airbnb. Whatever you charge is one thing, but then they add all kinds of stuff on top of it to take
Yeah.
care of,
Airbnb has an almost 15% service fee.
right.
And some owners choose to pass all of that along, essentially. Like they pay 3% and you pay the other 12. Or they take all of that on, if it's more of like an
But I'm
actual,
assuming that Airbnb then would. Then
they should say,
pay out the whatever taxes that are due in that particular locale. That would be.
yeah, I
something-
don't know if that's built into the Airbnb model.
Hmm.
As far as
That would be
that's.
something we should probably find out as a city. Are we getting funds from Airbnb for Airbnb rentals?
Right, yeah, and I was not sure because we are on a self-reported model. I don't know that Airbnb would be collecting that and then sending it out. I feel like it would be up to the owner to add that in as a fee, collect it, and then pass it on to the city. Which at that point, I mean, if you're just renting out a room in your house, I would do it, sounds like a pain in the butt. But it is self-reported, so. I don't know, have we looked into that recently to see who all we've been collecting from?
No, but that's another good thing I will bring that up as well.
Cause I believe it, did we get a new form for it or something? Something about it changed recently. But cause when we were still LBCB, we were able to get copies if it was just like a paper form that they filled out and it was like their business name, their address, all that information, and then just, here's how much we made, here's that percentage, here's what we're giving you. Paid. But that was it. And so I don't know if that system changed as to how they're paying that tax.
I will look into it, so. I'll talk to the treasurer about this, so we wanna know about the tax percentage return, direct tax, and then Airbnb, what kind of funds are we getting, if we're getting any at all, right? And then if we're not getting them, why aren't we getting them?
Right.
Right, cause those are still short-term rentals, and they're
Yeah.
under 30 days.
And is there a specific, like, phrase or term for these reports you're talking about, so I know?
Yeah, I only saw them once,
Okay,
so I have no idea.
so is it safe to say, like, it's just like the stuff that the board would look at that pertains to a specific business, or is it just like a summary of stuff?
No, it was like one sheet per business, and I
Okay.
think the business was the one filling it out. Cause yeah, I only saw it that one time, and I think we just got them to look through them to see who all had paid in the last quarter or something to make sure we didn't need to go knock on doors and say, hi, you owe us rack tax. But I don't even know if we have the ability to do that. You know, who goes to say, hey, you haven't paid this?
Right, actually.
Like, where is that accountability since it's self-reporting?
Make a note of that. Okay. So I will tell you all, so the website, it has been up and running for some time. The social media account, I tried to create a new one, and for whatever reason, it's been flagged again. So they killed off Visit LAMO and Visit LAMO 1 on the Instagram account, despite the fact that it's attached to a .gov account, and I even submitted my self-verification. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
you can't re-sign for those names, they're gone.
Yeah.
But I put a feed from this plugin called Juicebox. I had stuck it at the bottom of the page, but the website's up, visitlamo.com. It's not mobile friendly at the moment. All the brochures, like I think even the Tombstone brochures are on there. They're ready to download. I might have to go back and reformat some of the PDFs. So if someone decides they want to hit print, they can just print out back front and be done. But it's all on there. So if there's any there's some stuff that's not updated on there, I have to go back and re-update and put all the shopping stuff on there as well. But I will tell you, from a website point of view, a lot of tourism websites for small towns and cities, and I don't know why they do this, they don't just combine everything in one page. They have a page within a page within a page. And it's like, no, you need the business hours, the phone number, and if you decide you want to go to the social media or their website, then you can do that. But there doesn't need to be an individual page in a website for that business. They have their own page, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if you look at Herman, Missouri's tourism page, they list all our businesses, but then they have a separate page, which I think maybe the website builders just wanted to make more money. They did that. But it's like, I would call it bloat. It's overwhelming. If you see,
Well, it gets confusing for a while too.
yeah, and the thing is, it's impossible to update the information all the time. Like that much responsibility, even on a few people, is impossible. So the website's a lot faster the way that it loads up. It's good to go. I haven't mastered the SEO search engine optimization taglines, but I got some plugins installed that are lighting up green that are telling me this is a good description. So the Google search engine hasn't picked it up yet, because I know when Janine was here, she was talking about us getting back into the 50 miles of our thing, which would be fantastic. More on that in the future. I'm trying to figure out how to get all that stuff squared away, but that's an update on the website. Unfortunately for the riverfront map, I had some responsibilities this week and last, and I wasn't able to complete it, but I'm working through that right now. I'm trying to put the historic district in there. I'm gonna put stars on stuff. I'm trying to make a list, like a map legend. And that way, when you look at it, it's gonna it'll offer you everything you can possibly think of, murals. I mean, they already have a pamphlet that can do this, but it'll be on there. So here's the bylaws. We'll move on to the bylaws. This little template was by no means supposed to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I wish Janine was here because she's more knowledgeable on the legalese stuff. But there are like these things that this is why I want new members coming in the future when they read this. So like, okay, tourism commission members, Article 2. One of the things that is of importance is that there is not a representative of the lodging industry here, technically speaking, right? Unless there's some loophole that I don't know about, like if one of you are a business owner and you say, well, technically we have this room people stay in, so that counts. Other than that, it says shall be a representative, but in my mind, as a not a lawyer, I look at shall as different than must. Must sounds mandatory. So, if we don't have someone on the board, one, isn't that frowned upon? Two, if we don't have someone on the board, are we breaking any state statutes? And that's why I want the bylaws to kind of reemphasize.
And that was something I felt was a gray area. When Emily was our representative, because it says representative of the lodging industry. So even though she didn't work in the lodging industry, she represented our lodging industry.
Okay.
And so I don't know if that's like,
Yeah, the
you
shall,
know, oh, well, I go chit chat with them all the time, how they're representative, you know what I mean? I don't know how that works.
the shall to me says is the same thing as must.
Okay.
What I've read. Maybe, have we thought of talking to Charlie or Beverly Kogar? Because they have the bed and breakfast up there. And so that would be the lodging industry.
Mhm.
And both of them are very civic minded. The only
Oh, yeah.
problem is Charlie has a lot of health problems. And he's on the library board, so he may be boarded out because of being on the library board. But he would be a great one to have on this committee, because his background is in communications. So he would be a great one to have if he can do it. I know he just rotated off as being the president of the Rotary Club, but of course, who rotated him to be the president? His wife. So I don't think that Bev's gonna be real interested, because I have a feeling she's got her plate full. But Charlie might, and knowing Charlie's background in communications, because he taught communications, I can't remember what the college was, but for years and years and years. And, plus, since they have the bed and breakfast, it would really help on that score.
It's good representation.
Plus, I think Charlie's a really funny guy. He's a very dry sense of humor.
I've been around him a couple of times. He seems very friendly.
Yeah.
He is like he's like one of the kind of people you'd like to run into of your first impression of Louisiana, Missouri kind of guy. Yeah. He's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, the hospitality and stuff. Yeah.
Just has a really dry humor. You have to watch it. Is he really being serious here, or is he pulling my leg? I'm not sure which it is.
I will say, our town impressed one guy who came into our store and he was like, I think I want to rent here. And he was just traveling through, living in his little minivan. He was like, do you know anywhere I can rent? I like it here. I think I'd like to live here. And I was like, okay.
Brings up another. Fine process over.
I know, it's kind of what we were like, well,
It's like about that.
yeah. I don't know, we just send everybody to Jerry. Sunset House, because she's with the low income apartment group. So we just send her to. And then I assume she just sends them to Pam Todd, but we're not sending anybody to Pam Todd directly. We're gonna let them filter through Jerry first.
Okay, so okay, so here's an example: orientation at regular intervals as may be decided by the Tourism Commission. Orientation regarding the purpose and activities of the Tourism Commission shall be conducted for the benefit of new Tourism Commission members. That's what I was talking about a while ago, because I didn't really get an orientation. It was kind of baptism by fire. So I don't think there's really any controversy on that. Okay. Let's see.
Are these the ones currently in place?
So this is just a rough draft thing, like you can pick it apart. Anybody can go in there like a vulture and tear it apart because this is from Perry. I think their Heritage Tourism is what it's from. Because on our what's the website called? It's like the E-Code 360 where we post all of our laws and stuff. Unless I'm blind, I couldn't find anything that's in direct regards to the Tourism Commission. But if I go to some tourism, because not everybody uses E-Code, there's other companies that have different whatever, but
Yeah.
or different governments will utilize that. There's a few municipal code companies that control pretty much, they run their thing and do that. There are some though that have, a PDF online where it talks about the officers and stuff like that. And so I just think for future reference, there's not going to be a bunch of confusion and there's no resources and people are helpless because there's still a topic of discussion, which I need to get with you on this. Figuring out where this ordinance is that was passed that says that city employees can also be a part of committees, because I've heard an uproar about that before.
Mhm.
It's like, well, I'm an employee, but I want to make sure that, I don't want to stir up a can of beans. Like, I get it. If I'm not supposed to be here, then so be it. But like, I think if a new person has concerns when they come on the board, they should know that right away and not have to question it. Because then they're like, wait a second, how come I can't see this? And then that whole thing happens.
Right.
So
I don't think it would be a good thing to have city employees on.
well, people have said in the past, and I've heard this in the past, and this is before I ever worked here, like, oh, so and so people just want their people in there. They want to keep anybody from the outside off and stuff like that, So you have those kind of Debbie Downer people or whatever, or just concerned people that will come in and say that. It's like, well, you have to have a knee-jerk reaction to that, you have to have something that addresses that concern.
And I think it's just people are looking to ensure that with only, 5 seats available on the committee, that
That's true.
the citizens do have more of a
Yes.
part of that, and it's not just,
I would-
oh, sure, you're calling it a committee, but half of it's
If we're gonna
staff.
put something in there about that, then I'd say that a minority of the members should be city employees,
Mhm.
not a majority. That would
Okay.
take care of that.
All
But
right.
I personally,
Yeah, cause I don't think it's anything towards you personally.
Oh, I know
think it's
that.
just
And
people
besides
being
that,
like a,
I think it's
Hey,
important
is
that
this-
you've got city personnel on there, because then you find out, hey, is something going on, is the city doing this, what's the city policy, how? You need that.
I mean, right now in this case, I think it's pretty evident that like me being a city employee, me being a part of the board is a good thing because the quorum's been empty for so long. But like, I just want to make sure, like, in my ethical capacity that, because people, they'll say things or they'll bring things up, they won't take action on said thing. But I have to have a heart as a person, and when I hear about it, it's like, well, if I'm doing something by the mere act of, being a part of that thing and it's breaking some policy, then I have to be held accountable, and I don't take it personally because tourism, regardless if I'm here or not, is just an apparatus, right? And it's like, if I'm gonna be a part of that, I want to make sure that I'm not stepping on anybody's toes.
well, especially because we're a
It'd be a
standing
lot.
committee.
Be a lot easier if the public members, which I'm not a member either, would show up for the meetings.
Wouldn't it be nice?
So that's we'll probably have to squeeze more in the bylaws later on, but here's the thing. I'm gonna skip the brochure for today because I didn't finish it, but I'm working on the past and present idea. I think we can make something work with that perfectly. Someone brought this up to me and he's gonna chime in because he's already down the same path, but a gentleman who walks his dogs talked to me and he said that he wants to know why there's not a dog park in town. How come, they have all this land at Wallace Park, but he says he kind of feels insulted as a taxpayer because when he goes out there, it's not supposed to be used for that kind of thing. And he said he even got shooed off the field because someone like I don't know if it's a foreman or the land keeper or something, but they're like, hey, you can't be here at a certain time, and they had to shoo him away. But he just wants to walk his dogs. And I brought up to I think 2 other people, and they wondered, hey, that's kind of cool, dog park. And there's a lot of dog owners here.
Well, just, I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things that I'm hoping is on the agenda fairly soon, but we've had so many problems with water and sewer. That those things seem to have taken the entire focus of the council. But we're definitely wanting to look at not only a dog park, but a skate park
Mhm.
and some form of a walking trail. And one of the, we're not recording them, we're not forum, right?
What?
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording now.
Okay. One of the things that we've talked about in regards to that is the area when you first enter town, on South 79. Is that would be a good area. And part of the reason for that, especially of late, is because the city has been given multiple properties of late. We've got 2 houses that, there's a house and an empty lot next to it that was given to us. Just literally like 2 blocks away. Then the house that caught fire, the people there aren't gonna rebuild, and I don't think it's much cost at all for the city. I think it's city personnel have to use the bulldozers and stuff to tear that house down. And so there's almost no cost, additional cost. So that's a third property that is probably gonna be added to the city.
Mhm.
And we're thinking that trying to figure out a way to incorporate those into the area that we already own across from the water sewage plant rather. And see if there's a way to then, have that ugly mess of the ice house. And trying to figure out what's gonna happen with that, because it's tied up in legal battles at the moment. But we're hoping if we can ever get all the legal battles figured out, and we have those 3 properties already on our side, plus the land that we already own, to try to somehow or other incorporate that into a park that would have all those things. It would have the dog park, it would have a skate park, it would have a walking trail. But there's just an awful lot of, and it would also then hopefully tie into some way or another, tie into the waterfront, riverfront.
Mhm.
The problem with that, of course, is do we do a bridge over the railroad track, or do we how to work that? Those are all really big
A
questions.
lot of red tape.
A lot of red tape, a lot of really big questions within the council. But it's definitely been brought up. It's been in work sessions repeatedly. And right now it's just the legal aspects, because one of the linchpins in that honestly is the ice house in that
Mhm.
area.
Well, what about, did the land next door sell? That's right next to City Hall,
I did not think so.
is that city owned?
Mhm.
Why can't we just fence that in?
Well, it's honestly, it's awfully small.
Yeah, but it's a starter.
But the problem is once we spend the money, then we'll never get to make it any bigger. So the idea is, let's wait until we get these other properties all together. We've got an actual big enough parcel to do something, and we spend the money. And then we don't have people come back saying, second guessing, well, why did you spend that money on that little one when you knew you were gonna do this? So we're trying to get it all together so we can make a big move. But
Right,
it
but
is
could you
got,
not still use that small space at events as a child play area as like multiple other things other than just a dog park, even if it does eventually become something else?
possibility. But again, it's once you spend the money, and if you even got a small one, you'll never be able to big one.
Yeah, I hate to see it being oh, well, we're waiting until we have to spend $2 million, whereas we have something we can do for $5,000 right now.
I don't think that it's gonna be that long a wait.
Okay.
I'm hoping that this spring that we're gonna see some major moves on it. And part of the reason why is because we have done every legal thing that can be imagined to give them a chance to get that ice house under control, and they aren't taking any of the offers and the opportunities. They haven't done anything in ages. We've sent.
Because wasn't the city the one that cleaned it up last summer?
Yep. They haven't paid the city for that yet either. Then there's taxes due on them. There's all kinds of issues. And there, at some point in time, the legal rope, you've offered as many ropes and as many opportunities, and we're pretty close to that point. And at that point, then the cities say, hey, well. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that this is not like years away, that it's only months away before some of these decisions get made and some of these things happen. Obviously, not gonna happen until.
Right. I mean, I'd love to see a big park in town.
Yeah.
Like what you said, like a dog
Well-
park and skate park and.
And my hope is that it will help that whole entryway to Highway 79, in the work sessions, you know, that's sort of real.
That's all right.
In my opinion, it's a real sore point within the entire community. It gives the first impression, and an awful lot of people come through that way, especially in the fall.
Well,
Just so you know.
okay, that's actually really helpful information.
We don't want to get the cart before the horse too far. We don't want to have everybody saying, oh, that's what they're gonna do. Because it hasn't been voted on. It's still in the discussion stage, but the pieces are beginning to fall together. And there's so many more pieces that you hate to say, well, this is what we're gonna do. And then it falls through.
Mhm.
But certainly the idea is there, and it's not like we don't realize that it would be great to have a dog park. We do realize that. It'd be great to have a skateboard park for kids too. It would, one of the biggest problems with that right now is the fact that people are afraid of a liability issue. But it's like, well, if you post them all over the place, that they're using it at their
There is.
risk. And then trying to figure out a walking trail. I mean, all those things are in the works, are definitely in the works, and there's a few others along that same line of things. That will hopefully.
That was actually something I was a bit skeptical of, and I didn't know if it would take like a new generation of council members to come in, because in regards to skate parks, so you're talking about like there's this reoccurring issue where it's like litigant phobe or something, if I'm pronouncing it right, where like, oh, I have litigant phobia, like we can't have this because it's everybody's sue happy nowadays, right? And I've thought of this idea of a skate park for like the last 2 years, but I've noticed like the city, they own a lot of acreage out there by the middle school. But then if you have people go out to the middle school, I already know someone's gonna take their actually I could just do meeting adjourned. Because meeting adjourned, because we can't meet quorum, to be continued.